All right, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy DJ Richie Skye. I'm on the road. I'm on the highway, and we are getting our driving on. But I was thinking today. I had a word on my spirit, and that word is that if you are finding this video right here, right now, today, and you have found yourself in a season of transition, my spirit is telling me to tell you that the only way through the transition is to see yourself on the other side of the transition. So what do I mean by that, right? Oftentimes, really astute business people will start companies with the end in mind, right? So they will start by thinking about what's the end goal for them in this business that they're starting, right? So for a lot of people, a lot of really, really smart, astute business people will start a business with the end goal to sell that business at the end, right? And this is well documented, this is well researched. You can definitely see that there is a pattern of this with, some successful people who will launch a business, get it to the point where it's thriving, and then they'll sell it. And there are platforms where you, at this point right now, if you have a thriving business, there are places online where you can actually go and they will broker deals to sell businesses, right? So the thing that I want you to understand is these successful people who start these businesses with the intent to sell them are seeing themselves in the business with the end goal in mind. And so as you are in this state of transition, you first need to establish what that end state looks like for you. You've got to establish where you see yourself. What do you see yourself doing? If you're in the transition, it's likely that you're questioning, okay, I don't like what I'm doing now. I don't like where I am right now. I just hate it here. And so we can wind up in several different spaces, right? You can wind up in the space where you're running from your current situation. You can find yourself overworking and overstressing, trying to do multiple situations at one time, which is something or a space that I had been in most recently. I'm not even gonna lie, Or you can sit and really think, meditate, write down, strategize in the stillness of just your being, which is always enough, and really establish what it is that you see for yourself in your next state, right? And I say end state, but I'm really saying the state that's on the other side of your transition, right? So if you see yourself, for me, I see myself in the travel space, right? Teaching people how to travel abroad for less, speaking to people about travel, the benefits of travel, taking people on group trips, hosting retreats, life coaching and coaching. And I see all of those things for myself. So then now I understand what my end state is on the other side of this transition. Do you follow where I'm going, right? So that I know, I've written it down, right? Because I always say, when we have a vision for ourselves, write the vision and make it plain, right? So I've written this down. I like to look at it 3 times a day, right? All right, so you're in this state of transition, and it is likely that you are overworked, overstressed, trying to hustle your way into your next, right? And what I wanted to communicate with you was that in order to get to your next destination, your next phase in this evolution that you're currently going through, you need to establish your vision for what you see for yourself. And then you need to see it and you need to feel it. All right? What does it feel like when you're in that state? What does it feel like to be doing what you're doing? Let me give you an example, right? So earlier we talked about, the astute business person who builds the business to sell it. Now we're going to use myself as an example. If I see myself taking groups to, destinations and helping people learn how to travel, at deep discounted rates, all right, what does that feel like? What does that smell like? What does that seem like? To me, that feels exciting. We're going to go to Thailand, and I've never been to Thailand before. So I know what the group experience felt like in Bali. So there's evidence of that, right? But before I got to Bali, there was no evidence that this would happen other than people booking the trip. But even before people booked the trip, there was no evidence of that. I just simply believed that it was going to happen, and there was nothing in my mind that said that it wouldn't. There was unwavering belief. I could literally feel myself in Bali with a group of people with great energy, and that's exactly what I got. So even as we prepare to go to Thailand, I am mentally preparing and thinking about the emotions that I'm going to feel, everything that I see, and this is, and we'll really get into this on another day, is how to hack the algorithms to help you in your transition, right? So for me, I am liking, saving posts about Thailand, and I'm sharing them on my stories. So I'm constantly seeing the things that I'm imagining myself, and the place that I imagine myself in this end space, or the end of this current portion of the evolution. I'm seeing myself there because I'm also seeing it everywhere I look, right? So this is also why it's important to really understand what you're taking in on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people take in a lot of news, a lot of, just stuff that, is seemingly of this world, that is oftentimes meant to frighten us and keep us constantly in a state of fear, right? But even if you look at examples from the Bible, you can see that we're not supposed to live in that state of fear, right? So in my mind, I've got to now curate my environment so that it is always conducive to me feeling that goodness of that end state. So what do I do? So this is where we get to the action plan, right? One of the first things that I've started to do is curate my feeds, right? So I curate my feeds. I make it very intentional to save, to share, to like, and to comment on posts on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube that are about inspiration, motivation, travel, quantum realities, all of those things. That is what my feed consists of now. Yes, because I've come from this world of reality TV, there's still that too, right? But as I'm getting deeper into my end state, or one of those end states, the next evolution of who I'm going to be and what I'm going to do, I've got to now consecrate my mind with things that make me feel good. Because the only way for me to get to that good feeling of where it is that I want to be is to feel good. And I've got to feel good about being there. I've got to feel good getting there, right? So whether that's, this is the case regardless of whether or not you want $1 million, $1,000, you want to manifest your dream vacation, your dream partner, a specific person, you have got to feel the feelings of what it would feel like to be there, right? And then you've got to do the things that someone who is already there would be doing. So now I'm managing my feed. So I'm consecrating my environment. I'm listening to podcasts that are specifically designed and curated to feed my mind next level and evolution thoughts, right? And that could be for you something completely different, right? Whatever it is, it should be along the lines of whatever it is that you see for yourself in your next evolution at the end of this transition, right? So whether that's a new job, whether that's a new career, whether that's a new relationship, what does the person who is in that position, what are they doing? You need to understand those things so that you can then begin to do those things. You put yourself in position by seeing yourself there first. You have to first write it down. We're going to write down where we see ourselves. We're going to be crystal clear about it. Then we're going to imagine what that feels like and how we will feel when we get there, right? Because not really when we get there. How does that feel in that space? Don't even think about when you get there, because if you're feeling like you're already there, your subconscious has no concept of time. It only understands the magnetism of the feelings involved. So we think about, we imagine, we feel, and then we do. And that's the recipe for maneuvering through transition. Now you're going to ask yourself, because I know this is going to come up, well, what if the evidence shows me something contrary to what I see for myself? So a good example is you're in a financial situation and the bills are due. Okay, the bills are always, they're going to always be due. The rent is always due. The mortgage is always due. And you are in a financial bind. You need to, at this point, in my opinion, act in your best interests in that situation. But do not let that situation consume your mind or confuse you about where you know you're going to be in your next end state. That is a current condition based on actions that have already happened in the past. What you need to be concerned about right now is simply what you need to be focused on feeling for your next evolution in that next space. Whether anyone else believes you or not. And it requires what some people may call a little bit of delusion. But for the person who's on the outside looking in, it's looked at as delusion because the vision for your life was not meant for them. It was meant for you. So they're not gonna understand. They may not understand. Your best friend may not understand. Your spouse may not understand. Your mama might not understand. But you have to stay focused on what it is that you see, feel, hear in this new space that you're already in, and watch as the evidence of that begins to manifest. You don't have to look for it at all, because those feelings and those actions that are inspired by those feelings, because you're now doing what a person who does what you are going to be doing is doing, you're unstoppable. You're unstoppable. And for those of you guys who say, well, I don't know what that person on the other end is doing, and that's where you use your resources. That's where you start reading books about the topic. That's when you start looking at, YouTube videos about the topic. This is where you curate your feed about the topic on social media. This is where you listen to the podcast about it. There are so many resources out there for anything that you want to do. It is literally impossible not to find information in this day and age about literally anything that you want to do or be. So I share this message with you because I too am in a transition, and this word has been spoken to me. And what good is a word spoken to me if I didn't speak it to you? That's the way I look at it. So if you have found this conversation in any way, shape, or form helpful, I implore you to share it with someone else. Whether it be sharing this video, the thought, the idea, the plan, whatever it may be, because we are in a state where people need to be enlightened. People need to be shown the way forward, especially if they feel confused. And I understand that it is my mission to use my voice to help people get to that next state, as I'm doing it. And so we do it together, right? If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, I do offer that a few times per week. This is just my way of staying active in the spirit of A, giving, B, connecting, and hopefully helping someone else get to that next end state. The pivot is not always, the way is not always clear. And sometimes we need a little guidance to open the blinds so that we can see clearly. And that's what I'm here to do. So please subscribe to this channel. On this channel, we talk about travel, lifestyle, videos, motivation, inspiration, how-tos. You can find it all here. It's Vlogmas, so I'll probably be doing a lot more of these because I feel like we're in a place and a time where people need, a level of divine inspiration. And as I'm continuing to be inspired by those who have come into my life most recently, I am going to do my due diligence to also inspire just as they've inspired me. So like I said, please subscribe to the channel, like this video if you like this type of content, and leave me a message in the comments about maybe what you want to see next, or if you have questions, or if there are things that need further explanation. I am here to help. Okay? So with that being said, God bless, and make today a magical day.